everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be another one of my month by month updates. Well, as you can tell, I've not really got going the way that any of us would really hope to today. So this is how I did the school run with damp hair and half my makeup done. But yeah, it's just been, I'm just going to talk and finish getting ready. I thought, oh, I have to get ready now and I'll have to catch up and then I'll have to film that video. And then because of what I'm about to tell you, I'm so behind and felt a bit stressed. And I thought, do you know what, they won't mind if I get ready and do this at the same time. I'm sure they won't mind. So here I am. I've done my base and I've done my eyebrows, and that's about as far as I got, because obviously my priority was getting the kids ready. I did get up at 7 this morning, but I'm just feeling pretty rubbish. So, basically, the weekend, so it's Wednesday morning today. I'm having to think about that for a second. Wednesday morning, and then at the weekend, we had a really fun weekend, actually. We watched the England game, and we were all kind of in different places. So Daisy was at a sleepover for one of her friends' birthdays. I had Bill and Stan, and Bill's on a swim team, as I've mentioned before, and they had a big social, and it just happened to coincide with the match. So they were able to put the match on, and we started it a bit earlier so we could all watch it together. And then we did like a big rounders game, adults versus kids. It was really good, actually. So I took Stan and Bill to that, and because Mark's not seen his mates, he only really sees them when it like coincides with matches, where we're not busy or the kids haven't got anything on. So he went to go and watch it with his mates, and I had the boys. So it was really weird because it's not often that we'll split up that way. But we did, and it was really nice, actually. The match was so tense, like those penalties. Oh my goodness, they're on again tonight, aren't they? Spain got through versus France, and it's us versus the Netherlands. So that will be tense tonight, and we are letting Stan, or any of the kids really who want to watch it, stay up late to watch that, because only happens every so often, and he's really excited. But anyway, so we did that and we had such a nice time. Mark ended up getting a lift back with one of his mates who has a little one and lives nearby, so he met us where we were and had a drink with us at the end, and I was with my friends. Lovely evening, and I was like, great, okay, this is really nice. And then that night, got them all into bed, and obviously it was quite late. I think it was about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Stan came in and he was coughing loads. So if you followed me for ages, you'll know that Stan has been, he had bronchiolitis when he was a newborn. He had something called laryngomalacia, which is like a floppy larynx, and he grew out of that quite early on. But then he had recurrent croup, and I have lost count of the amount of times we've ended up in A&E in the middle of the night with Stan because he needs steroids. And they did tell me he will grow out of it, and he has, because we've not done an A&E stint for a very long time now. Good, I would say like a year to 18 months. But when he does get a cough and it's like on his chest, he still does suffer. I suffer, like sometimes, you know how some people just like when it gets on the chest, they're worse than others. So it's a bit like that. And he came in, and when he coughed, it makes him feel sick because, you know, like their little bodies are like heaving so much that sometimes he will be sick. And he ended up being sick in our ensuite toilet. Like, bless his heart, like amazing aim, bless him. And we got him settled, but sometimes he can be a bit wheezy. It's only ever at night, and things like that. And obviously, like, I've been chatting about it on Instagram as it's happening and stuff, but he's been checked for things like asthma. Obviously he's been seen quite a few times given his like history, and a lot of the time the doctors are like, just some kids are like this, they're more predisposed than others. So we knew the kind of thing to look for if it was serious. We knew the kind of steps to follow, and it wasn't as bad as what it normally was, and he did settle quite quickly after that. But it was one of those where, you know, you're up in the middle of the night, he's not feeling well, and there's a 48-hour sick rule in our school. So I'm just doing my eyeliner, I don't know if you can see, and I have to concentrate for this, because if you mess it up, you've messed up your eye makeup then, haven't you? So that was that, and we knew he would be off on Monday then, because, like, you know, you've got to honour these rules, because I want other kids getting this, even though I know that the sickness was not like a sickness bug. I know why he was sick. You've still just got to do as you're told, don't you? And he was really lethargic that day, just like not himself. We were keeping him dosed up. He had a temperature. And then towards that evening, I started feeling the same, and just like really rubbish, except I didn't have a cough. I had like swollen glands and a snotty nose, but I just had this really, really bad headache and like body aches, and I was just feeling really unwell. Then again on Sunday night, he woke up in the middle of the night and was sick, but this time didn't like manage to make it anywhere. It was not his fault. So we had to do a bit of a clean-up mission on Sunday night. And then during the day, like, he was like quieter than normal and not eating as much, but compared to night, it was literally day and night. Like, he was so much better during the day. So that meant that, like, we knew he wouldn't be back in until today, which he is. But we, both of us, just for the past couple of days, have just not been feeling good at all. His temperature's gone. He's had 2 great nights of really good sleep, thanks to some, well, actually last night he didn't have any medicine because he didn't need it, but the night before we got this, so many people suggested it in the end. I think it was a Benylin nighttime cough medicine for children, and that, I think, just gave him the ability to get the rest that he needed. He was so unwell at the night time, and then last night he was absolutely fine, and then this morning he's just spot on, and he's gone into school and is as happy as Larry. And he was so chuffed because, like, he got into like outside his classroom and all his mates coming up to him and like going, "You're back," kind of thing, and that was sweet, and that made him happy, I think. But as for me, I don't think I've had it as worse as him at all, but I am just so tired. I think it's a combination of being up in the night, and then obviously the last couple of days I've really not felt well, but I've been looking after him. And you know, like, when you are poorly together, like, your focus is on your kid and like making them happy and stuff. So I've not like rested or anything like that, and I'm really feeling it. But I'm behind, and that is a theme of the last month. And I'm sharing this not because, you know, I don't need like sympathy, although I appreciate it when you're all like really kind, obviously, but I'm sharing it because I know there will be people watching this who have been through similar, like maybe this past month or just this past week or recently or like a few months ago, and you'll relate and you'll know. And like, there's a comfort in not feeling alone sometimes, but I've just felt like and I must say there's been elements of this like theme really for the past 6 months of like this year, just that I've been so desperate to get going, and I feel like the universe is really holding me back. So like last few weeks we've had, I don't know where I was up to when I updated you last time, but we had like Daisy struggles with her ear infections. Obviously, like with our syndrome, there's lots of things that can impact you, from like hearing, your sight, your joints, your teeth, your everything. In fact, while I'm on this topic, and I want to say this really firmly, I don't enjoy doing this kind of discussion, but I think it needs to be said. Someone left a really nasty comment about Daisy, and you might have noticed that towards the back of her mouth she has like some metal going on, and I'm going to touch on this now because I think there's one thing saying nasty things about me, that's fine, but I cannot tolerate it being said about children. And also, when you say nasty things about me and Daisy regarding our features or anything that is to do with our syndrome, you are disrespecting an entire community of people who already have to deal with being born a bit differently. Sorry. So Daisy, when her molars came through, part of having a cleft palate, if you're not aware, and that's fine, I'm really happy to educate, is that basically this side and this side do not fuse together properly in the womb. So that can cause a cleft palate, can cause a cleft palate of the hard palate or the soft palate or both. Daisy and I have both. It can cause issues with your lip aligning properly. It can cause issues with teeth and speech and feeding and lots of other things. So it's really, really intense in those early years, and it can go on to affect you later on in life too. Combined with that, we also have a syndrome that affects our collagen and numerous other things in our body. So we are impacted in another way as well. My battery's running out, so I'm just going to change it and I'll be right back. Sorry about that, I'm back. So, when Daisy's molars came through and she had her next medical dental checkup, she gets seen locally, as every child does, but we also have regular checkups at Manchester Children's Hospital, because that is, you get put under a wing of cleft, like a cleft unit, and they will check up with your child recently. You are monitored for things like speech, your ENT, you swallow, safe swallow, so many different things, and obviously orthodontics is a huge part of that as well. So when Daisy's molars came through, the enamel on them was not great and they were showing signs of being really weak. So in order to protect her teeth, she had them capped, and that is to make sure that those teeth withstand her and give her the ability to eat and have a full smile and talk and all of those things. And it was a procedure that was done at Manchester. And I don't tell you all the ins and outs because, to be honest, we don't owe anybody that. But in the interest of education, I know that if there are people that watch this that hate watch and don't like me, and if it suits their agenda to say certain things about me, it suits their agenda, that I can't really argue with that. But for those who are willing to listen, that's the reason why she has them. It's not because she's a naughty little girl and doesn't brush her teeth. It's not because we're poor parents. My kids actually have great dental health. They have access to floss. They have electric toothbrushes. We do all the things that we're meant to. And I struggle with my teeth too, so I had issues with some of my teeth not coming out properly when I still have baby teeth as a teenager. Some of them needed to be removed in order for my adult teeth to come through. It can be really, really common with a cleft because you're even though everything was aligned now and I've had the repair to the roof of my mouth, there's a lot of underlying issues that are below the surface. Daisy's actually missing 2 of her adult teeth at the front. They were just not made. They probably didn't make it as everything fused together, and that's okay. She's on the orthodontist waiting list for the time that is right, but obviously she's still growing right now. I have a crown on this side for a similar reason. Daisy's teeth are just more affected than mine, and I get this a lot, I know a lot of you like to make fun of my teeth. So at the bottom I have overcrowding because as part of my syndrome I have something called Pierre Robin sequence, which means that I was born with a considerably smaller lower jaw. I didn't have any surgery to change that because it would have been purely cosmetic, because I was still able to breathe in the end and eat and talk and all of those things. But if you look at my side profile, you'll see that I don't have much of a jaw, and Daisy's is actually bigger than mine. Mine's quite small. So when I was younger, I was monitored by orthodontics as well, and checked regularly. My front teeth, because it's not my top jaw that's affected, are really straight. My bottom were great. I passed through, I didn't need a brace or anything like that when I was younger, once I had those problematic teeth removed. But unfortunately for me, as I got older, I grew wisdom teeth. So I have both at the back. I have a micro wisdom tooth at the top, and I don't actually have one on this side. And it's funny because you would think a person with a naturally smaller jaw wouldn't actually get extra teeth that she doesn't need, but I do. And then ironically, Mark's got like a strapping jaw on him, doesn't have any. But it's just the way it is. You can't control these things. So as that happened, I started to experience overcrowding at the bottom. I could get my teeth fixed, I could, but I would have to pay for that sort of Invisalign stuff. I don't really want to put money into my looks when I could put it into our family home or going on holiday. We've had a lot of work done to our house recently, as I've mentioned, or like just rather put it into my kids. Like, I'm comfortable with the way I look. I also don't want to go down any procedures in terms of things like Botox, etc., or changing my face or anything like that, because I actually don't look the way that I'm supposed to. Me and Daisy, if we didn't have our syndrome, wouldn't look like we do. We all bear like different features that are indicative of having stickler syndrome and things like that, and I personally just don't want to change my body because I believe that I've got a responsibility to my daughter in setting a standard of showing her that she's beautiful just the way she is. And yeah, I think if you're going to make comments, keep them to yourselves. We don't need to hear that. We've been through a lot of things that you might not have, and you're showing ableist views there, really, not really thinking things through. And I'm saying this purely to stick up for other people like us as well, because I would hate for someone else to see that, who is a part of that community, and feel the pain that it causes me when people say things like that. I'm comfortable with the way I look. I know I'm not perfect, but I still think I've got a beautiful smile and I've got a nice heart, and I would just really appreciate you taking a bit more time to think things through. If you want to make fun of me elsewhere, by all means do, but I'm not, as I've said before, I'm not tolerating it anymore. But yeah, as you can tell, we do still go through a lot. I just don't always talk about it. So we've had numerous things going on. She's had recurrent ear infections, which is really common when you have hearing aids, especially when you've had a cleft, because you can also suffer with things like glue ear, and some children need grommets, etc., etc. So it's a real labour of love, and we are in and out of the hospital fairly regularly still. So that happened recently. We saw a GP, she went on antibiotics, then we managed to get in with ENT, so we were there, and then also our rat Wednesday has been really poorly. Now, I appreciate that some people don't care for rats, but we care for rats. Like, they're a member of our family and we love them very, very much. She actually had a respiratory infection, and we were lucky that we took her in when we did, because the vet said if she'd have gone downhill anymore, because they're so little, it can be really hard to save them once they've gone past a certain point. But she had a week's course of antibiotics and anti-inflammatories, like I said, twice a day, and she's actually doing really well. She's starting to put weight on again, and it's just been one of those months, really, just like really intense, one thing after another. And I must admit, this morning, I woke up and I'm still not feeling well. I think you probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but I'm just so tired. You know, when you feel like tired to the point where you feel a little bit emotional, and you just, what I actually really want to do today is nap and catch up on sleep. But I've not been able to do that because obviously I've been looking after Stan and he's my priority. But I'm behind now, and I've got Bramway to film today. I've got so much stuff on, and I'm feeling it, I won't lie. Not to the point where, like, I know it'll pass and I'm all right, but you know when it just gets to you a little bit and you feel like a bit emotional, and that's kind of where we are at, like, life-wise. But I am remaining optimistic because, touch wood, for the first time in ages, it seems that we don't need to do something to our house. So as you know, we had that flood, and that took bloody ages to fix, and came in a lot of different ways. Like, there was so much work that needed to be done, and it took a long time, and it was quite stressful, to tell the truth. I mean, I know that it's a, privileged cause of stress to have that it's all been fixed, but stressful all the same. And then obviously the roof issue that was affecting, so we live in a dormer bungalow, which actually isn't a bungalow. It's a really weird phrasing, but We have dormers that come up from a like pointed roof like this. So it's like, that's the front of the house, that's the back, and the dormers sprout up here like little squares that way. So we extended once and then saved up again to get like the ability to do the bigger extension that we did. But with a dormer, you'll have those pointed roofs with slate tiles, and then you'll have flat roofs. And on the flat roofs on the back, which were like, they'd been less updated, so to speak, it was causing damp in Bill's room, damp in the bathroom. The bathroom's seen it all, because not only did it get damp on the ceiling, but then it was bloody flooded from the sink on the floor. So that has been an issue. And then it had also, because there was a join from where our new bedroom is and our ensuite, it was, because it was adjoined, it was also starting to affect our ensuite. So the ensuite looks crap. If you go in close up, there's like damp in spots, and obviously it's all been fixed now, but we've just not had the time or the resources or the money, to be honest, to go and get that all repainted and damp proofed again right now. It's just been one of those things. But that's been happening. So we had the whole roof in the end fixed over the ensuite in our bedroom again. We had that redone, so it would be one fluid repair, because obviously, like, when you're mixing old and new, there's always going to be like seams. So that's all been sorted out, and like, we've had plenty of rain to test it and everything's fine, so that's really good. But we've just been having like a lot go on with the house, so I'm really pleased to say that so far we don't seem to have anything else left to do. And I'm actually quite relieved, because you don't really realise how much stress that's causing you until you're like, until it's stopped and you're like, oh, thank fuck for that. And because we've been doing this house up for so long now, God, like 11 years, something like that, it's been such a labour of love. But do you know what, it's so worth it. And I think I've said this before, but I think if you see these remodels and home accounts, which by the way are beautiful, and don't we all wish we had the funds and the resources to just do stuff up that quickly, and you know, like, to be fair to these people, they work bloody hard to be where they are, so you know, everybody's circumstance is different. But sometimes I think it's also nice to remember that for a lot of us it takes a while, and that's okay. I'm really pleased about that. I'm really pleased, even though this week really doesn't demonstrate it, about my health and fitness journey. I have lost my little mirror that I was using. Oh, here it is. So basically started that back in October, as you know, and I'm really starting to see results. And I feel like it's slow and steady wins the race. But I don't know if you can see it. It's like, I feel like you can really start to see it in like my face now. My waist is coming back better than ever. My fitness, because obviously I track everything with my Apple Watch. My fitness is really improving, and I just feel so good. That said, I've not been since Saturday. I normally go Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. And this week, because of just the way I've been feeling, because of needing to look after my son, I've not been on Monday. I've not been today. I would normally be there like now. And I'm not going to be able to go on Friday either, A, because I'm at home, but B, because sports day has been rescheduled for like first thing that morning, and then it's also in the afternoon, key stage 1 and key stage 2, or the other way around. So I'm giving it a miss, but to be honest, I think my body probably needs it, because I'm not feeling great, and I will go on Saturday, and then we'll just get back into that routine again. But I'm not stressing like I used to, like in previous years where I've always been like, oh, I need to go. It's like, my body's tired, I've not been well, we'll give it a break. I'm just going to do my lip liner 1 sec. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. And you know what, if that confidence pays off a bit when we're away, I'll be even happier. Like, just to go away and be like around the pool and in a beach and not feel as self-conscious would be an amazing thing. I'm just going to get my hair dried, because this still needs a blast, and we'll curl it and make it look a bit nicer, shall we? Every time I dry my hair, I always lose a hearing aid every time. So I just needed a quick blast, you know, when it's still a bit damp. So, one thing I want to talk about, have I got any mums, dads, caregivers who have a kid who is about to finish year 6 and go into year 7, because I bet you are really feeling it right now. And I just wanted to give you some comfort from someone who has just come out, nearly anyway, the other side. When you take them on that last walk to school, which hopefully they will let you do, and I'm sure they will, you're going to feel really emotional. They're going to do a leavers assembly, and they're going to do that last day where they all come out, and you are going to feel it. You might cry there and then, and you might surprise yourself. You might hold it together, and you might just hit you when you're walking home after dropping them off on that last day, or you might do it in private. Everybody's different. However you feel like doing it is normal, and it's okay, because it's a huge milestone. And I'm not going to lessen your worries and your concerns, and I'm not going to like make it seem smaller, because it's huge, and your feelings are so normal. I was so worried. I don't know why. I just was. I felt like I was losing touch. You do not have the same relationship with the teachers that you do when they're in primary school. You know, like just catching them when you drop them off at the door. None of that. You can't remember all the teachers' names even. Parents' evenings are chaotic, and if you think they're busy at primary school, they are very busy at secondary school. But your kid is gonna be okay. They are gonna find their own song, and they're gonna dance to the beat of that song, and they're gonna have ups, and they're gonna have downs. They're gonna get more hormonal, they're gonna change, they're gonna need more responsibility, and you're gonna have to let them have it. You're gonna have to let them make mistakes. You're gonna have to learn to let go a little bit. You're gonna have to work out which app is best for tracking your kids to make sure they're okay when they're out and about. You're gonna have to do all of these things, but you are going to do it, and you're going to do it together, and they're going to learn how to shine. Some kids are going to be really into the theatre. Some kids are going to be super smart. Some are going to be amazing at all these different sports or activities that are now more available to them, and they're going to take their own path, and we are just going to sit back, and we're going to enjoy those front row seats that we've got. Bill is now a week and a half or something like that away from finishing. Days and Stanley, bless them, finished late, I think latest possible really, like right at the last week of July, because we get WIT as an extra week for half term with the primary schools. But Bill finishes first, and he is gonna absolutely love this summer. He's done really well this year. He's really come into himself. He's had so much going on. Like, he's been through grief. He's about to become a big brother for the 3rd time in August, which is like a huge thing to go through at his age, because it's not normally typical, is it? But you know, we're excited for his dad and his partner, and it's just, I don't know, it's all gone so very, very fast. So if you're sat here right now and you're thinking about it, it's okay to worry, and it's okay to feel like your baby's growing up and you blinked and it happened, especially when it's your oldest, because they are the kids that still make you feel like a new parent, aren't they? Because you're always like, I've not done this before. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm still like that with Bill now. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm so grateful for like Suzanne, especially. We're going through it together, and we're always catching up with each other, and you know, talking through our feelings, because it's a lot when your kid makes those big leaps. And there's less of a community online, or like just generally as your kids get older. There's no baby groups, but for mums of preteens or dads of preteens or caregivers of preteens. Like, you can't get together and have a coffee and watch your kids I don't know, play on their phones or like walk around where they live together. Like, it doesn't exist for us, and we sometimes have to do it alone, and that can be really daunting. You know, it's about to be the summer holidays. There's going to be a lot of stress and pressure involved with that, because you'll be managing childcare. I know I'm privileged to work for myself. I recognise that privilege every single day. My husband works full time, and I pick up the childcare and he picks up days off so we can enjoy them as a family, and we're lucky for that. But we feel all this pressure to do all these amazing, exciting, fun, crazy, wild things with our kids. When I grew up, I didn't do half as much as what my kids do. Like, some years we would be able to afford stuff, some years we wouldn't, and I consider myself to have such an amazing childhood. So as we're getting closer to the summer holidays now, just remember that, like, your kids are probably just dead excited to be off school for 6-7 weeks, and you know, there's a lot to be said for play dates or movie nights or walking the dog or going to the local park or visiting a friend or family member. Like, don't feel that pressure. We're really excited to be going abroad this year. We didn't go last year because we were financially worried with everything that was going on with the house, and that's normal, might I add. It's normal to cut back from some areas and focus on others. And don't ever feel this pressure of all this. We only get 18 summers with our kids. I'm not being funny, but I'm still a kid. I'm still someone's kid. And, you know, I'm 36 now. And I'm not going anywhere. It's lovely to have time with our children. It's lovely to have family time. I know we're all looking forward to family time. I know we're all hoping it's going to be brilliant, and some of us will still go away on holiday and the kids will argue and you'll think, oh, bloody hell, it's an expensive argument that paid however much to get here and they're still arguing. But that's normal too. But don't put too much pressure on yourselves this summer. But I'm going to go now. I know I haven't got a finished look, but I'm running out of time on this memory card and I think I've spoken enough. But you get the gist. Have a lovely day. Wish me luck, because I've got a lot on my plate today and I'm a bit stressed. But I'm sure I'll do it. I always do. It always gets done in the end. It's always all right on the night. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you all very, very soon.